Hi, Roger Bindle here with ViodiTV coverage of the OPASTCO 2009 conference. Check our ViodiTV website for full stories on this coverage.
OPASTCO is born and built on the idea of representation in Washington, one, and two, figuring out ways people get in new businesses, make money, and serve their customers.
John Rose described the role of OPASTCO and gave a brief glimpse of how it's evolving.
OPASTCO is going to have a session on Wednesday, and y'all should be there, called OPASTCO as an IP Association. It not only addresses the idea of what do we do legislatively and regulatorily, and how do we push this stuff. It also talks about us as an association. It talks about what business members are in and how can we promote that.
We interviewed Mark Galey to learn more about this IP association.
Mark's going to tell us a little bit about this transition from the association being one of PSTN to really more of broadband and IP.
Well, for telephone companies, we're kind of making the transition anyway. And the feeling is that if we don't get ahead of the curve and don't start driving some of it ourselves, it's going to be given to us in maybe ways we don't like. And we may get, as John spoke of, John Rose has spoken of, we may get 20th century regulation on a 21st century product. So we want to get ahead of the curve so that our members are able to afford to put the products and services out there that they need in an IP future.
We have to move forward into the broadband world. We continue to support what we've done in the public switch world, but we need to move forward in broadband.
In our interview, John Rose tells us how he's walking the walk of what he's talked about this new IP world.
What's really cool is you're actually doing this at your home. You're leading the effort by example. And why don't you tell us a little bit about what you've done at your home in Williamsburg?
Okay, I decided about 4 or 5 months ago that I could not talk the talk without walking the walk. And the setup in the house works really good. It takes everything on your computer and puts it on a 52-inch screen. The quality of the stuff, like Hulu and stuff you get over the internet now, is not as good as HD quality, but it's close. And the real challenge for all this was we, instead of using set-top boxes or a Hulu-type box or a Roku box, we took PCs and put together on the PC the software necessary.
Mark Seifert and David Villano acknowledge this new direction toward IP and broadband.
Well, there's something about a company that started in 1922 that's still here and still on the cutting edge that to me says, we've got folks out here who know what they're doing. And I think they know what they're doing because they keep looking forward as opposed to looking backwards. So I'm excited to hear that your organization is thinking about kind of the IP future.
Our total focus is the future of rural communities, and I can't think of anything more important to the future of a rural community than broadband.
We interviewed David Villano afterwards on the broadband stimulus funds.
If you look at the note for both NTIA and USDA, we set up different tranches of funds. So we have funds for remote rural areas at the USDA. We have funds for middle mile and for last mile, so that they're not all competing against each other nationwide. But our big focus is getting middle mile coverage to rural areas, so then we can get in there with the last mile and get broadband out to every American.
With these broadband and IP trends, services move a lot closer to the customer.
Edge technology favors the customer more so than the network providers. This is where we got to do a balancing act, because we're all in the network business, but we all need customers to make our networks work.
We interviewed Jack Cassidy on his views about this.
Do all customers value good service, and are they willing to pay for it so that you can be profitable?
If we learned anything from customers, it's that they really don't care to know what the alphabet soup that we use. What they care is, what's it do for me, okay? And, is it entertaining? Is it convenient? Is there a good price-value relationship? Is it simple and predictable, okay?
In addition to the various interviews, we did a special video on the Lifetime Achievement Award.
It is a great honor that I recognize Harry Baker of Sierra Telephone with this year's OPASTCO Lifetime Achievement Award. My father first went
to work for the company in 1945 when he was 17 years old.
We also produced a short video on Fred's 20th year of providing rural educational grants.
Over the last 2 decades, Fred has supported OPASTCO communities with over $2 million in grants and scholarship funding.
So we sign off with this, but be sure to check the ViodiTV website for full coverage.
The early adopters and the young generations are already getting almost all of their services over their high-speed broadband connections. The broadband evolution, or perhaps broadband revolution, has started, and we need to embrace this new environment. We need to embrace it at our companies, and we need to embrace it at our national association level.
This is a transition, and the transition is not easy. And this is the beginning of the transition. And what we put out here today is a work in progress. And we need other people to say, these are the things I'd like to see you do, or these are things that I think we need.
You see how much easier it is to be excited about where you're going and where you're stuck right now? It's just human nature. And if you don't have a vision, you're not going anywhere.